Hi and welcome to our live crafting today. My name's Jenny McCormack and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, and I'm based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire here in the UK. Thank you so much for joining me. I did pop on earlier today, so you may already see a video on my Facebook page from my earlier visit, and that was to introduce you to the cards in our August card class and class in a box. So if you missed that, I am posting that onto no, it's already on YouTube, I beg your pardon, it is already there, but you can catch the replay on YouTube and also on Facebook. And if you're on my email list, you will have received a copy of the information all about our card classes. If you haven't received that, then by all means send me an email or comment in here. It's jenny@jeminicrafts.co.uk, and that's Gemini Crafts with a J. Feel free to drop me a line and I'll make sure that I add you to my email list. So this evening we're finishing all our fun projects with daisies, and we've had plenty of practice and lots of cards to share with you. Some of these are from our recent card class for July, so you may have seen those. So I'm just going to skip through these pretty quickly, and then I've got a new die cut that I'm going to try out, and also a new technique that I've seen somebody do, and I'm desperately trying to think who it was, and I can't, it's gone out of my brain for the moment, but when I find it, I'm sure I'll find it, I will put it in the comment section. And it's called wet stamping. So you stamp onto wet paper, wet watercolour paper. Hi Caroline, good evening to you. So let me show you just really quickly the cards that we've made this week. So if you've been to a coffee and card, you'll have seen some of these already. So the stamp set that we've used all week is called Cheerful Daisies, as you can see here. It's available in the annual catalogue. It has it's £24, and it does have some matching dies as well, and you'll see those in use in some of the cards. It's photopolymer, makes it really easy to stamp with, and you can see I haven't exactly cleaned these off, so I do apologise, but we'll be using those in a minute. So really quickly, this selection here is Boho Blue and Daffodil Delight. And then a similar one, this is with the outline from the stamp, and this is on the matching daisy papers. Got this one here, this is just the outline and watercolour pencils, and this is the same but with the backing paper. This one is the same but change of colour, so stamped it in the espresso and used bubble bath for the highlights. This one is from the card class, and it just uses one of the panels from those really pretty papers. And this one shows you some of the dies as well. This one is one of the paper panels. Made that into a sympathy card. And then this one here again shows you two of the levels of the dies. There are actually 3 dies that go together. So there's one that goes underneath, there's this one here that you see on top, and then there's another layer on top of that. So those are what we have created so far, and let's have a crack on with something new. So I've had this die, it's from a set called Around the Bend. don't comment, it's fine. And one of the dies, as well as doing lots of corners and things like that, is this one here with this leaf detail and some stitching. And I thought it might be quite nice to have that on a card with some daisies around here and a sentiment. So that's what I'm going to do. So I have pre-cut this to save a little bit of time, and this is a white note card, and I'm using Granny Apple Green card, and it's got all of this embossed detail. It's a really pretty set of dies. What I'm actually going to do is two things. I'm going to stamp some daisies. So I'm just going to use, let's move this out of the way, give myself a little bit of space. Granny Apple Green for the daisy itself. Hopefully, yes, it's still here. So I'm just going to stamp that. I'm going to do a few of those, like so. And then I'm going to stamp the centre, and you can use really any orange, yellow, pink, really depends on what flower type, daisy type you've got. I'm just going to use crushed curry here, which is a nice deep yellow. There's 1, 2 and 3. Let's cover that up. And then there's a die that cuts this out. That was a fluke that I managed to put that on correctly, because the top and the bottom are very similar. When you start out they look quite similar, but this sort of flat side goes on the bottom as I've stamped it. So I have pre-cut some of those out just to save time, otherwise we should be here for quite a while. And my plan is to put these sort of along here, like so. Hi Zana, hope you're well. So that's going to go on like that. I'm going to stamp over here, and then I'm just going to use a banner. This is also from the Daisies dies. So I think what I'm going to do is stamp some leaves, and I do have from Layering Leaves, which is one of the feature stamp sets for our card class for August. I might just stamp these sort of open leaves. Let's see how it goes. Hello Lynn, lovely to have you join us, my darling. Okay, so I'm just going to dot these around, and I'm going to stamp them in Granny Apple Green as well. It's been a beautiful day here today. It feels a bit stormy almost, but it is nice. Okay, let's put a piece of grid paper underneath so I don't mess up my expensive designer tabletop. And you know that I'm being sarcastic about that. It's my £5 bargain. Okay, so I'm just going to put these at different angles, hopefully just to make it look like just turn that round. Like so. Now I know my daisy is going to go on the top, so I'm not too worried about that. Let's put this one in here. So I cut this to fit a note card, so all I did was I took the tip of that and then I die cut it first and then just measured it as 3 1/4 by 4 3/4, which is what I would cut a normal base layer. Hi Teresa. And then let's just see if I can tuck this one in here. So you could use any florals at all. don't think I need to put them in there, but I'll just keep that ready in case. So my thinking was to have these going across. Now there's so much you can do with these daisies, there really is, and I thought, oh, I'd love to stamp a One Cheek Wonder with it as well. That would work perfectly. And then I'm going to have a little banner here, and that's going to go onto my card. Now I might cut out one or two more of those. So let's stamp sentiment for the banner. So I said, this is from the All Around dies, worth looking up in the catalogue. This is one of those sets that would easily be missed, and I think, let's see what would fit in there. So we've got Whoops a Daisy, So Sorry, and obviously from the layering leaves you could use any of those that fit in. That little Thinking of You might just fit. It'd be a bit close, I think, because it's actually bigger than that, but it's a lovely set, which is why I include it in this month's class. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this in Granny Apple Green. So I hope everybody's keeping well, and depending on where you are, enjoying the nice weather. So just popping that hopefully in the middle. So that says Oops a Daisy, So Sorry, and I've got the perfect recipient for this card. Okay, finished with that for the minute. So it's going to go on there. I am going to cut out maybe another one of those. I better cut out another two really. I've got my machine just to the side of me, so excuse me while I do that. You can hear Cassie in the garden. There we go, there's one. I could have stamped the sideways on Daisy, but I'm just going to stick with these. If I can find the right position. Got it. So I can't believe it's Friday tomorrow. Goodness me. The days just go by so very fast. Alright, so I've got those. Let's put that die to the side. And what I might do is wrap some ribbon around there, because I have got my favourite gingham ribbon, she says. I'm sorry, I'm wriggling around. It's because it's packed in my bags after coffee and card. So I'm just wondering whether to put that round it or not. Let's have a look. Let's find my note card and see. Maybe it doesn't need it. So this is going to go on my note card like that. My sentiment is going to go down here, so I did wonder whether to run this behind, just to pick up the yellow flower centres. I'm not sure it needs it. I might add it as a bow, I think. So let's attach this to the card and take it on from there. So I'm just using some wet glue, dotting a small amount on the backs of those leaves. You don't have to do every single one, and you don't need too much glue either. just positioning this hopefully fairly central to my card. Sit down like so. I presume you could cut, for a bigger card, cut another one going on the other side. I don't know. I need to play with that. Okay, so here are my daisies that are going to go on there, and I might just use bone folder to give them a little bit of shape, and I'll have some flat and some with dimensionals. Lynn says she thinks the ribbon pull out the centre of the daisies. Yes, I agree. But I wasn't quite sure about was because this is curved, so I think a little bow might be called for. But they're just so pretty. Who doesn't love a daisy? There we go. Okay, so let's pop a couple of these on. So I've got 5 altogether, so I'm thinking but I don't want to cover too much of this up because this is really pretty. Thinking I need some more dimensionals. Luckily I have some to hand. So one, let's do this at a bit of an angle, like so. Maybe that I just put them all in a line. Let's have a look. Yeah, maybe I will. Like that. Okay, let's put that one on. And let's see. Yeah, because the way I position that, it's got to go there really. I was going to have them overlapping, but because of the way I put them on there, they're just going to be a run of daisies like that. And if you want to, you can use a blend pen to add a little bit more colour or detail. You could also use a blender pen, which is what we were doing with our watercolours. So I'm just going over this, adding a little bit, just a hint of yellow, like so. Just bring that up a little bit, hopefully you can see that. So I was surprised and disappointed today. So I was expecting my box of catalogues for the September to December catalogue from Stampin Up, and I knew I had a box delivery due and one due tomorrow, and the one I was expecting was the catalogues, and the one tomorrow is the new goodies that I pre-ordered. And what would happen? But I received the pre-order goodies and not the catalogues. So in a way I was pleased because I got my hands on new stuff, although I didn't have any time to look at it and do anything. but it does mean I've got to wait now for the catalogues before I can send them out. Okay, so whoops-a-daisies going on there. So I say it was good and bad news really. There we go. And the next card I'm going to do is some wet stamping, which is a technique I don't ever remember doing, where you stamp onto wet watercolour paper, especially with a two-stage stamping stamp set. So let's make a little bow for this. See what it looks like and where it might go. There we go. Got it. So I'm just going to make that nice and small. Okay. Hello, Brenda. Lynn said you'd rather have goodies before catalogues. Hi Brenda, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you've had a reasonable day today. Okay, so I've got a very small bow. So what do we think? My gut feel is bottom right, so it's away from the sentiment, but it does go off the page a little bit. So I could put it top right. Oh good, Brenda, I'm really pleased. Oh hi Babsy. So maybe I'll make that a little bit smaller and put it on there. What do we think? Just in that corner. Like that. Or too many choices. It really does feel like it gets in the way. I can make it a little smaller. So I'm thinking bottom right, or even perhaps bottom left. Feels a bit more balanced on the left. Let's grab a blue dot and pop that down. Deciding which is the nicer side. Nothing in it really. There we go. There we are. There's our finished card. With our row of daisies going across, we've got our die cut there, and I will stamp a couple of daisies on the inside and on the note card envelope, which now has escaped. Let's bring our piece back here. I'm going to put one there, a little bit on either side, so. you. Thank you, Lynn. Just pop that in the middle. There. Okay, so something completely different with those daisies. So using the stamps and the dies, you could, if you didn't have a die casting machine, you could stamp a background and then mask these and stamp them, or fussy cut them if you wished. That would be another option. Okay, so there's another one. So our last card is a new technique, which I haven't tried, so I'm hoping it's going to work, and if it doesn't, it's only paper. So this is a piece of watercolour paper. This is half a sheet of our fluid 100 watercolour paper, and this measures 3.5 by 5 inches. And what this particular technique involves is, and it works particularly well apparently, if you have a two-step stamp set. So where you have, for example, an outline and something that fills inside. So I'm going to use the big ones. Let's go big. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to start with the infill in a lighter colour, stamped onto wet watercolour paper, and then going to dry that and then stamp over with the outline. So the idea is that the detail, the outline, the infill spreads in the back, and then you have the detail on top. At least that is the theory. So I just need to do some colours. So I think what I might do, I don't know if Lemon Lolly's too light. Lemon Lolly with crushed curry on the top. It might need to be Daffodil Delight, but let's have a look and see. So what I'm going to do to start with is take my water painter, aqua painter, you could use a paintbrush, and I'm applying water onto, and you really do need watercolour card for this. This won't work with our thin white card. It just won't absorb the water too quickly. Let's have a look. So nobody can see that it's fairly wet, you can see it glistening. And it will curl slightly as it's got the water on it, but that will sort itself out. Okay, let's give this a go. So I've got Lemon Lolly ink. Just going to make sure this is actually clean before I start. Okay, so I'm going to ink up this one here, and I'm just going to do it all the way over. So what should happen is the ink will get applied and then will run, if you can see that. Okay. So I'm going to do this all the way over. And I think you could really have these overlapping if you wished as well. You can know how warm it is because this is drying very quickly, this watercolour paper. Okay, also gives a really nice background, let's be honest, in its own right. Okay, let me just shut that up and bring it up to the screen so you can see. How pretty is that? I'm not sure how much of you can see because it's very light. Oh, let's put another light on here. I don't know why I've got so much of a shadow. Sorry about that. Okay, so our infill stamp is this one here. and we've also got a centre. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do is do the centre while it's still wet, and then do, sorry, the outline. You can tell it's late in the week, can't you? I'll do the outline when it's dry. So let's see, I've got crushed curry. So what I'm actually going to do is just wet these centres again. Oops. So I'm using daisies. These could be sunflowers, they could be any flowers, they could be leaves. Let's see, let's give it a go. Ooh, I like that. I need to put some more on that one there. That one's wet. That. I think I missed that one. Okay, so there we've got lemon lolly, which is a very pale yellow in the background, and you can see this one is really spread the wetter the paper was, and then I've re-wet the centres and then added the crushed curry. Okay. So I think what I might do is use Daffodil Delight in the middle. So I've got 3 tones that I'm using. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my heat gun and dry that off. Now I do quite like that as it is, I have to say. So if this fails, I'll do another one like that. Okay, so excuse me while I put the heat gun on. There we go. Doesn't have to be really dry, but I want to see some of the definition. So let me know if you can see that okay. And let's try Daffodil Delight. So I'm going to try just stamping it as is. Obviously, I'm not going to see the definition for positioning it exactly correct, because our petals are spread, haven't they? So let's see what this looks like just on my paper. Okay, I think it'll work. Oh good, you can see it now, it's dried. This would really be really pretty in pinks, wouldn't it? Echinacea daisies. Oh, I've just realised while my light's not working, I unplugged a plug for my heat gun, and it was obviously one of the lights on my table. Okay, so I'm just going to overstamp it, like so. And I guess you could, if you wanted to, make this slightly wet again. Let's just see, I quite like it as it is. So that's why I've got a shadow. I do apologise. Yeah, I rather like this. Go. There's a little bit in this corner, look. Okay. Right, let me bring it up to the screen so hopefully you can see that a little bit better now. Would be better with my with my lights on full. Okay, so yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm going to give that another go. So that's called wet stamping. So you stamp onto watercolour paper. So it must be watercolour paper or something that will take watercolour. So if you have, for example, our old shimmer white cardstock, that would work. But this is our Fluid 100 watercolour. And the question is, what am I going to do with it now? Let me see what I've got in terms of backings. So gingham would be nice, but that's far too close. Let me try. So this is Pretty Peacock gingham, which is rather nice. Obviously I've got the daisy backing, but you see so little of it. It seems a shame. Let's look at the other backs. So that's plain Pretty Peacock. I could just use plain card as well, of course. Let's see what else. Coastal Cabana. Oh, the hearts go the wrong way, really. Right. Oh, this one I stamped earlier. Okay. See if I've got I wonder if the pecan pie would work. The brown to left. I wonder if you mean this one. Looks like a piece of wood, doesn't it? Or that's pecan pie. Copper clay. That's quite nice too. That's the one. This one here, Lynn. So we've got left or right. Maybe that's a bit too busy. Let's grab a white card ready anyway. Could easily go on a coloured card. Just see what it looks like on white. any other suggestions or selections, all welcome. So I've got this one here, like that. So this is Pebbled Path background. This is Evening Evergreen. Which I do quite like. Yes, I definitely think we can get away with ribbon on there. Around that. Let's cut that. Anybody else think of a different layer behind? But I'm really pleased with how that's come out, I have to say. I'm going to wrap that round. Yeah. There we go. Hello, Annabelle. Annabelle says the green one. Hope you haven't been working too hard, Annabelle. Or just pop the daisies straight onto the white card. Feels a bit lost, although it does look quite sweet. Right, let's find, let's pop a sentiment on. That one works quite nice. I was going to go for a circular sentiment, but I think that works quite nicely on there. Not going to push it down too hard. I could also put it onto crushed curry. Decisions, decisions, folks. Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? So you need to just sit and work out. I mean, you don't have to have a two-step stamped item, but I think it would be easier. The other thing you could do is like stamp a circle or a shape and then stamp on top of it as well. Is that too much yellow, everybody? Let's stamp. Of course, I could go early espresso, as you know. Let's see if Thinking of You will fit. No, not quite. Wishing you the brightest birthday. Brenda likes the crushed curry, so I am going to stamp this in early espresso. And we'll just try early espresso. Of course, I could do 2 layers. That one, that one, that one. 3 layers, even. Okay, let's stamp this. So this says, wishing you the brightest birthday. And this is from the same Daisy stamp set, and the die is from the same Daisies die set. So are we going to add a little espresso in to tie that in together? This is the question. And I'm just thinking embellishments. Because I have these. These are the metallic embellishments. And I was thinking this one here would work particularly well if I had the espresso. So Lynn says, early espresso onto what? Yes, actually, I think you're right. That's it. Decision made, and then I'm going to use a couple of those. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, 10 minutes to make the card, 20 minutes to decide on the layer it's going to go on. And I've just buried my trimmer. Apologies. Oh, and I've got something else to show you. So I'm going to grab that as well. Right, so I'm going to cut this at 10 by 14.35. So, oops, daisy. This is going to go onto there. So a nice bold outline. So let's put some more glue on the reverse, like so. Put it on there. So I'm just going to centralise this, well, hopefully centralise that. I think this is not quite half a sheet, but that's fine. It's got more of a border on it. There we go. Okay, layer of glue on the back. And I could take early espresso piece and heat emboss a white sentiment on it. That might be a little bit too dark for that. So what I'm going to do is just put a little strip of dimensional foam pads top and bottom, so it sits either side of that. Let's see if I've got some strips there. Usually have some. Indeed I do. The perfect piece here. So one at the top, one at the bottom. So I have today released details of our August card class, which I'm really pleased with. So do take a look if you fancy joining us, or you fancy our class in a box. Love you to join us. Okay, just about straight, isn't it? Do you think? And then these are the metallic sequins, and I'm thinking this really picks up the espresso. Just going to put 3 in that little gap down there. But I've got something else to show you, so don't go far. 1, 2, 3. I was going to dot them around here, but then I realised I've got a bit of space at the bottom. And I think you could send that to a man or a woman. It's not overtly floral. So there we go. So something I wanted to show you is something that arrived the other day. I've got to find it first. There we go. Just wondering I shouldn't have put my glasses on. So these are our metallic enamel effects, and there's 2 different packs. These are the metallics. So we've got a copper, a silver, thank you Caroline, and a gold. And what you can do is use these in lots of different ways. You can write with them, but it has a very fine nozzle, and you can make your own embellishments with them. So I'm just going to put them on here, like so. So that's the copper. I'll lift it up so you can see it. It's a bit like doing icing, but what's really nice is it keeps its height. It doesn't flatten down like you get with glitter glues, for example. So that's the copper. This is the gold. And Sarah, our CEO, on her Facebook page, I think it was hers, they did some great examples of using this. So just see how amazing that is. They're like tiny little pearls, and I've not practiced at all. Now you do, if you've got them quite tall, you do need to let them dry, okay, because these will still be wet for a little while. But one of the things they showed, I'm not sure how much I can do here. Let's just turn this round just really quickly. Let's just use a little bit of silver. And they actually used a palette knife, but they spread it. Oh, it's not going to work on this colour, is it? But they basically spread it across, and you got the effect of silver metallic. Now obviously this is early espresso card, so it's not going to show up. I just wanted to share that with you. Let me just grab a little bit of this to show you on here. Make sure you clean that off after though. Let's just do a little bit of gold. So these are called enamel effects, metallic enamel effects, and then these are basics, and I'm pretty sure the other selection has like Christmas colours. And you can mix it with inks, you can mix it with embossing paste, all sorts of things. So I don't know if you can see that. Obviously I've just scraped it across, so it's not going to be the best, but you can see the flash of gold on there. So I just wanted to share that with you while I remembered. And while I remember, I need to clean this off. So watch out for me using that. I'll probably be using it our forthcoming craft day. So I've got a team craft day in September and a customer craft day in October. So watch out for details of that. Yeah, that's cool. And it's amazing. I mean, I'm definitely not a cake icer, but it's amazing how accurate that is. Tiny little nozzle. Make sure obviously you cap it as soon as you can after, so it doesn't dry out. But yeah, and they come as a pack of 3, and I'm just trying to think what the other set of colours is. And if I could find the catalogue that I moved just before I came online, I could tell you. Here it is. Let me look and see. Bear with me. I've got to find them, of course. We've got some fabulous new gems and embellishments in the Christmas catalogue. Make sure I don't put my thing down on it. Just amuse yourselves for a minute while I find it. Oh, here they are. So small. It's on page 137. So Enamel Effects Basics, copper, gold, silver, £14 for all 3. And then you've got black, real red and white. So the red would be perfect, and the white for baubles on a Christmas tree. So just wanted to share that with you while I remember. So that's dried already, but I know that that won't be. Okay, so thank you so much. So let me just show you the 2 cards that I've made this evening. So there's this one here. So this is wet stamping. Give it a go. Do try it out. And then this was the daisies that I created with the Around the Bend die set. Could put some gold centres in there, or dot some around. And then I don't know if anybody wants to see the class project or whether you've already seen the video for August. So just give me a shout if you want to see them. If not, I'll tidy up and let you get on your way for the morning, afternoon or evening, depending on where you're watching from and when. Let's just do that one across the top there. There we go. So something completely different for those, but plenty of examples. Okay, I can see some thumbs up, but I don't know if that is for just generally or whether you want to see the cards. So I'll give you a minute more while I put everything away, and then I should be back, as they say, on Monday morning. I will be here for our latest stamp set of the week, and that will be at Coffee and Card tomorrow, Friday, and then Monday and Tuesday. And do you want to see which stamp set we're using? It's a brand new one to me. But I find it though. There it is. It's called Sweet and Precious. It's this one here. So it features sloths in a tree, giraffes and 2 gorgeous penguins. So that's going to be our stamp set for next week. And the sentiment says, bring on the cuddles. I'm always here for you. I believe you and appreciating all you do. Which is rather sweet, isn't it? Okay. Right, thank you everybody. I look forward to catching up with you on Monday. I will see some of you at Coffee and Card in the meantime. Let me put my glasses on. Find my glasses buried under here. So 8 o'clock. far too late. I'm sorry to keep you so long, but really pleased with the results. So I'm going to be looking for other samples. I might try a, oh, cat's come in the window. I might try a pink one just to see what that looks like. Can you get down? Oh, well done. Got down, missing everything on the way. Thank you very much indeed, everyone. And yes, so I've got to prepare for tomorrow with this set. So that's what I'm up to after my dinner tonight. Thank you so much, everyone. Do take care. Enjoy, and I look forward to crafting with you again really soon. Thank you so much. Bye for now.